Hey guys, Matt here, and welcome to the second episode of Very Quick Currency Guides. If you're wondering why I changed the name from Complete Currency Guides, because I realized that these videos were actually not going to be all that complete, and we're mostly going to be focusing on very fast videos where I talk about a certain strategy, and you'll be able to pair up multiple of these strategies. In some cases, this is going to be one of those cases. This is going to be extremely good with the guide that I'll have out tomorrow, which is going to be about blights. But anyways, let's get right into it. Today we're talking about Heist and how to basically make essentially free currency with pretty much zero investment with Heist. So we actually have Heist on the map device this league, which is 6 chaos. So technically it's not free. Your investment is 6 chaos. There's no watchstones, no prophecies, no sextants, nothing like crazy advanced that you need to do. All you need to do is slap Heist on your map device, slap in a map, and roll it. Now the thing is, if you did that, you would actually run a map which would give you 2 smugglers cash, which is guaranteed to give you a contract on each of them. So that would be 2 contracts which sell for the very minimum 3C each in bulk. So that would pay back for your 6 chaos investment, but you wouldn't really have any profit. The profit would literally just be pretty much rogue markers, which are, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not great. So let's talk about how to maximize this value of your 6 chaos here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be focusing on Lira Arthain. Now, Lira Arthain has 4 nodes on the Atlas, which are absolutely awesome for the strategy. Secret Stash, which gives you an additional 10% chance to get a smuggler's cash, which the baseline is 8%, which means it goes up to nearly 20%. So about every 5 maps, you would actually get a smuggler's cash. Now, the thing is, we're forcing 2 caches every single map from Heist. So realistically, this thing kind of sucks. It just means that every 5 maps, instead of getting like 2 caches, we'll get 3, right? Not a big deal. The real kicker is Inside Job. Inside Job makes it so your smuggler's cash are 100% more chance, have 100% more chance to drop a blueprint. That's pretty crazy. I've tested this on my main account, and it seems that you get a blueprint basically every 2 to 3 caches that you open. So almost every single map you'll be walking out with a blueprint. But the real kicker here is blueprints that drop in areas have 10% chance to be fully revealed. So that means that every 10 blueprints that you're dropping, which means every 10 or so maps, maybe a little bit more than that, you are going to get a fully revealed blueprint. And the value of a fully revealed blueprint right now is minimum 1 exalt and can go up to multiple exalts. So as always, for the strategy or for this guide and all that, I have a text version of it, which will be linked in the description. And it's part of my casual exile series, which every single one of these guides is going to be part of, basically, or at least in the same document. I figured, why make a new one? So let's go a little bit more in depth about profit and whatnot. So I already talked about Secret Stash and Inside Job, and one thing that I didn't talk about is the small nodes actually give you rogue marker stack size, 20% for 2 of them, so that's 40% increased stack size of your rogue markers. So instead of dropping about 350, 400 per cache, you're going to be dropping like nearly 500 plus per cache, or at least it seemed to be when I was testing it in T14 Alkengo maps, which is actually not all that bad considering you get 2 caches minimum per map. That's about 1,000 rogue markers, which that alone is worth about 3 chaos right now. It's not huge, but it pays for half of your map device costs by itself, and of course the contracts are minimum 3C each. So already, without any blueprints or any sort of lucky drops, you're already making profit. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit more in the currency. I've already mentioned that, you know, rogue markers go for about 350 to 1C right now. I've talked about the smuggler's cash getting the contracts. Let's talk about the blueprints. So the blueprints really depends which blueprint you get. They range from anywhere between 5 and 20C or so, it seems, and it really depends on the type of rewards. For example, the most expensive right now is Unusual Gem, and the cheapest is pretty much Replica Uniques and whatnot. Don't seem to be all that great. So I've listed the price of these. Now this is just kind of like an average price for these. There is a lot more things that matter, such as the number of rooms, the number of rewards, which kind of reward you're getting, and all that. So there's a little bit more to it, but again, if you head over to the trade website, go ahead and do that. If I head over to the trade website, on the left-hand side, there is a Heist filter, so you can actually filter in exactly what your blueprint looks like to make sure that you are not scamming yourself and selling what you think might be a 5C blueprint, but in reality is worth like 50 or something like that. Because obviously not just the reward type matters, everything else does as well. But What we're really looking at or looking for is the fully revealed blueprints, as those go for minimum pretty much 1 exalt, and in some cases multiple exalts. So as you can see, well, I wouldn't really worry about this guy. It's pretty obvious that he's price fixing. He's selling the most expensive blueprint, and he's got like 5 of them, but for some reason, you know, everybody else is much more expensive. So I wouldn't really worry too much about that. But as you can see, 1 to 2+ exalt for fully revealed blueprints, which is pretty insane. Note that you could actually make a lot more currency if you were to run the blueprints yourself and the contract yourself. But since that would be a completely other guide on like how to equip your rogues and all that, that's for another video. But if you wanted to focus farm on that strategy, I actually wouldn't really recommend it. In the guide, I wrote some additional information about that. But there's 2 nodes basically on Watchstones which you could consider. Areas have 16 to 20% increased chance to contain a smuggler stash, so that would be 80%. Then if you had Secrets of the Stones, we're talking about 100% increased chance, but your chance is only 8%, right? So you're only increasing the odds by 8% for a total of 16, plus the node on the Atlas, like 26%. Meanwhile, you're forcing 200% from the map device for 6 chaos. In my opinion, not worth it, especially with the very low weighting. It's kind of the same situation with the blueprints found in the areas. You're already getting 100% more from the inside job, right? So why spend that much currency to get, let's say, 4 of those for another 50% when it's literally free to get 100% more? So I'm not a big fan of the Heist Watchstone nodes whatsoever. In the conclusion, I wrote some additional information though about if you wanted to get some Watchstones, what you could do. There is this the option to go for maximum number of socket Watchstones. These are actually pretty easy to roll, and they are going to give you a fair bit of extra 6 sockets, which every time you drop one of those, you're basically making 2 chaos, which is pretty decent. Otherwise, you could go skittering. The unique bosses drops 7 to 9% chance to drop an additional scarab. Now this is completely random. It's just going to give you additional scarabs as you're mapping. What's interesting about this though is it's unique bosses, not unique map bosses. What that means is that that counts for things like, you know, beyond bosses and all that. It's not just the maps bosses themselves. So if you're getting any sort of additional bosses on your map, you can actually walk out with a few scarabs here and there, which isn't bad. Next, we can look at Gatekeeper, which is basically the same thing, but instead of being a scarab, it's a chance to drop a map. In my opinion, that's not all that bad, considering right now maps are actually quite expensive. And then what I think is actually pretty interesting is this one of the Remarkable, which gives you the unique map bosses have up to 6% chance to drop an additional Atlas base. If you look at the Atlas bases in Lira Arthain, essentially it's bone helmets and steel rings, which if you pair that up with just a rusted Elder Scarab and you're running T16 maps, you can actually get some item level 84 Elder steel rings and bone helmets, which are minimum 1 exalt each right now, and you can easily craft them up with things like essences and whatnot to be worth multiple exalts, or again just sell them for 1 exalt and just cash out there, which is pretty decent. So in conclusion, I think that this is a very, very good way to start making currency if you essentially don't have a base, because there is 0 investment. All you need is to slap on the 60 on the map device and you're good to go. I do think, however, that this, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be really, really, really good paired with the Blight Guide, which also doesn't have any sort of requirements, but that's going to be coming tomorrow, so look out for that. Before I go, as always, I do want to say a massive thank you to my supporters: Flame Scorpion, Richard, Willie, Alex, Jordan, ML, Raymond, Tim, Scott, Lost with the Mac, Brimore, Nathaniel, Kremis, Justin, Kevin, the other Justin, So Nice, Axel, Mercury, and Bizen, as well as a massive, massive thank you to everybody listed down below. Hopefully this video was helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.